Hello, and welcome to another Aircheck at Hi. Today we're going to listen to, and I just kind of picked these randomly. It's KTAR. Where the hell is it? Pheonix, I think. Yeah, I think it's Pheonix. KTAR 90. Hey, they've got an FM signal 92.3. Let's go ahead and just dump
to open.
They're still in their newscast now.
Called it a warm-up act ahead of the summer heat. Chris Coleman with the National Weather Service says the valley will see a 3-day run of triple.
Now, according to the alleged website, Bruce St. James and Pamela Hughes are what we're going to be listening to. I think this is just the top of the hour newscast. I mean, I'm coming into this blind, like I always do. I'm just basically one blind SOB. Bruce St. James and Pamela Hughes show offers a unique perspective on news, politics, and life. Because we know that news and politics is much more important than life. Bruce and Pamela tell stories and make us laugh. Hopefully with them, not at them. With an injection of common sense, no topic is too something. And it just kind of goes ...
On I-10, the Papago Freeway, westbound at the 35th Avenue exit ramp. It looks like the left lane is blocked right at the top of the ramp.
I'll bring that up a little bit for you.
Brought to you by TimeshareExitTeam.com. Do you feel like you're trapped in your timeshare contract?
Damn straight.
TimeshareExitTeam.com will get you out legitimately.
Am I the only one that gets... I get constant timeshare spam stuff where they, want to buy it from me or something.
I'm Danny Sullivan, KTAR News.
Valley weather, it'll be sunny today with a high of 95 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 69.
Hey, that's a fun
sunny
little
and
weather
tomorrow
jingle.
With a high of 102.
Oh, this guy sounds
now
like a
it's
newsman,
87
doesn't he? I mean, he
Paradise
really
Valley.
sounds
Weather
like a
brought to you by
newsman.
Howard
Oh,
Air.
got
Weather
it.
replace or repair. Call Howard Air. I'm Bob McClay, KTAR
Okay,
News.
Bob.
You've heard the headlines.
Oh, man.
Bruce St. James and Pamela Hughes make sense of the madness now.
Now, I have no idea if this is a talk show or a news
11
show.
o'clock hour, looking at, maybe some of the steps people could take to restrict opioid addictions.
The lead.
And Congress is looking to take a couple steps themselves. In fact, the House yesterday easily cleared 3 bills aimed at reducing opioid addiction. The first of more than a dozen bipartisan bills up for consideration this week. Now, House GOP leaders plan to merge their opioids bill into a final package next week. That legislation will be combined with the Senate.
I have no idea what it is we're listening to. I mean, is this a newscast with music and stuff and younger-ish people to make it sound more interesting, or is it a talk show? I don't know.
Can we acknowledge that this might be a better use of Congress's time than going after Facebook for the trending section, especially when you understand and learn how opioid addiction has ruined so many people's lives. And if you understand and believe if it were to continue at the same rate, how devastating it would be. We talked about this earlier, and I get these emails, and they're absolutely heartbreaking. Can I read a little bit of this one to you?
Yeah, this is
and
from
she
one of
asked
our listeners.
not to use her name, and I completely
respect
understand
that.
I find it amazing it's taken society so long to realize the connection between OxyContin or oxycodone and other opiate addictions and heroin, and the ease in which one can become addicted to pain meds. My mother began her addiction to Tylenol 3s and hydrocodone for migraines and back pain 50 years ago. And now at age 80 is on oxycodone every day, several times a day. She goes into withdrawals if a dose is missed. 50 years ago, her mom got...
That was a nice pause.
hooked, if you will, on these pain meds.
So 50 years ago.
And that's one thing a lot of talk show hosts are afraid of because they come from the jock radio background is, dead air. You're always told to fear dead air. Don't fear dead air. A good, nice, long pause is the way people speak, and it can give lots of... mystery. It can create tension. It's a good thing to use.
We in the United States consume 75% of the world's prescription pain medication, yet we account for only 5% of the world's population. It's a problem, and it's a problem that's reaching epidemic proportions to the point now where you have Congress stepping in and trying to take some proactive approach on it. And this is a little bit of a different way of going about doing it, because they're beginning to take on a powerful coalition of doctors groups that do not want to have to face any more restrictions or training, or they're a very powerful lobbying group.
My, do they spend a lot of money?
A ton of money.
But should that trump public health? Let me give you another one here.
They said Trump.
My daughter had spinal surgery twice.
Wow.
Now, obviously, as opposed to reading a bunch of listener emails, you're much better off taking the phone calls and talking to them.
With some other pain meds for well over a year.
And if I have to spell out the reasons as to why that, it's better to do that than,
she
give up
turned to
now.
heroin.
Oh, no.
That addiction and the world that goes on with it went for nearly 8 years. We thought she was going to die. She's
a mom.
Yeah. She said, hey, there's some tough love. There's been rehab. They're still fighting this. Her daughter's doing better now. But these stories are no longer wow, I've never heard anybody like that. These stories are like every family can tell a story like this.
And every family can tell a story like this, Bruce, because someone dies in this country every 19
She sounds like such a newscaster.
Because of a prescription painkiller overdose. So something here has to be done. And
someone, please
this was really
think of
interesting
the
and telling
children
as well that it's become such a problem that doctors now have a profile of who they believe could die from a prescription painkiller overdose.
Okay, I've heard about this before. Like when they're looking for a serial killer, they come up with a profile. You've heard of the criminal profiling. We're looking for somebody like this. They sometimes even draw sketches of them, for goodness sakes. So now you're saying there is a profile for the person who is going to or okay,
I have no idea if they take phone calls or not, but nowhere in this segment, which we're now about 7 minutes into, something like that, have they given out the phone number. And they have not really listed what the topic is. I mean, they're obviously talking about, opioid addiction and all that stuff. But nowhere was there, opioid addiction, so anything clear spelled out. Opioid addiction, blah, blah, blah. Phone number. And I don't know what radio station I'm listening to either.
Like coming out of surgery, they give you the script on your way home, stop and get these pills and start on them.
The clock starts ticking.
Okay.
Because from the moment that they fill that prescription to the time of an overdose death, 31 months. Less than 3 years.
2.5 years or so, right? Yeah.
It's gotten so bad that we now have a profile as to who is going to be that person that dies every 19 minutes in this country. This has become such a problem. And the problem is there's a lot of blame to go around.
Yeah, no, so we realize that it's a problem. Give me your opinion. Tell me how we fix the problem. Or say it could be ridiculous.
Listen, I can't.
But there needs to be an opinion that the listener can hang their hat on so that they will call. Of course, we have not heard any phone numbers, so they're not going to call anyways.
Walk up on the shelf and pull it off the shelf.
And this is a big market. This is KTAR in
that are handing out these prescriptions, but it's also coming
in Phoenix.
From
Sorry.
Big Pharma and.
Well, they love the idea that everybody's prescribed drugs for anytime you're uncomfortable, you should be taking horse tranquilizers.
But we find out now that for decades, some pharmaceutical companies out there have actually misled the FDA about the risks of opioid dependence in an effort to sell more of them.
Yeah.
The first study that came out about how pain pills aren't as addictive as we've now grown to believe that they are right now. That first study came out in 1986.
Okay.
And at the time, opioids were just given out to cancer patients, right?
Serious, high levels of pain and suffering.
And the reason why was because there was concern for addiction. But this doctor came out, 1986, said that prescription opioids could safely be used in all pain patients with chronic pain for years on end. And he said that the drugs were easy to quit. that overdoses hardly ever occur. And do you know how many patients he used to come to that conclusion? That conclusion that has been the catalyst for so many scripts to be written by doctors?
Thousands, obviously.
38.
38
patients back in 1986 are what some are going back to as the epicenter for what started what we're now dealing with as an epidemic.
No, well, maybe another epidemic out there: depression, anxiety.
Okay, so they've just gone to another story.
Are talking about it, raising
depression.
awareness.
So it's Bruce St. James. How much you want to bet that's his real name?
KTAR News Flash.
At 11:15, I'm Bob McClay with three things you need to know right now. The Jewish Community Center in Chandler has been evacuated because of a bomb threat. Businesses near the center at Ray and Alma School Roads are also evacuated as police are checking things out.
It's very happy music
Kids
for a bomb
inside
threat.
The center have been taken to a drop-off location. A Navy SEAL from Phoenix.
All right, so I guess what he did is the Bruce St. James there. Promoed the upcoming segment, which was going to be about depression or something. But so the entire first segment, I never, let's just kind of run through this real quick. I never heard the mention of the radio station, and I'm pretty sure it's a local show, KTAR, Bruce St. James and Pamela Hughes. So I never heard any mention of the radio station, what radio station it was I was listening to. I never heard there were some strong opinions, but I never heard a real topic. And I never really got a handle on what exactly they were, the gist of what they were talking about, what that topic was. I got that they were upset about, opioid medications being so readily available in the world, and oh my God, how those things happen. But never once did I hear a real good topic as to,
1981.
We've got to stop this now, and here's what you do. So something that would make a listener agree or disagree, and no phone numbers given out. Why would you call?
36. The documentary Marley that came out a few years ago just completely opened my eyes. And
this is something that I'm hearing more and more on talk stations. They're constantly jumping from topic to topic, to topic to topic, to topic to topic, to topic to topic. It makes it difficult for the listener to really follow what's going on. And it's this whole mindset that these people are listening intently. They're not paying attention to anything else. That they're just listening intently and not looking at the road or not picking their nose or whatever it is they're doing. No, they're not hanging on your every word. That's why you've got to make it as easy for them as possible to get involved in the conversation and to call.
A lot of the times, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but a lot of it's driven by, in some cases, depression. Depression shows itself.
Yeah, and I realized they wanted to be cute and do some Bob Marley thing. They're coming out and play the music. They would have been much better served to immediately jump into what their topic was, as opposed to derailing it.
How you like them apples? These are things I learned. Spent a lot of time on the couch.
And you've learned this, and I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just...
Bruce St. James here sounds a little bit more personable than Pamela Hughes does. My guess would be that I don't know anything about them. Pamela probably comes from a news background, so she's a little stiffer. You can just kind of hear that.
And I'm horrible with ears, you know that. And have gone through therapy.
At least he's like talking to us
medicines.
Here,
And you've been very transparent and open about
But she sounds very stilted and transparent and open. She sounds like she is reading a news story. Like she's not really even a real person.
Even more hypocritical. And you know how much I hate hypocrites. It would be very hypocritical for me to present this image when I knew there was another part of me. And the other part of me, the image I use, and the boisterousness, the jokes, the bubbly, if you will, in a lot of times is to cover, mask, and prevent me from having to talk about, deal with, or explain why I feel the way I feel. Because many times,
do you feel like
this is one of the real frustrating things when you talk about depression. I can't tell
Man, it's so
why.
Depressing to talk about depression.
And Pamela and I are good enough friends. You should know that. Pamela and I are good enough friends that Pamela will say, "Hey, bud." She calls me that, by the way. That's how Pamela talks to me. "Hey, bud, what's going on today?"
You okay?
Like, you okay?
Checking in.
What's going on? So you can pick up on those things where others might not. And a lot of times I can't. Yes, something's going on,
but I can't tell you what it is.
I have no idea why. I cannot explain it. I don't know if it's animal, vegetable, mineral. I have no idea where it came from. But there's more and more people that are coming forward and talking about it. There is a list now, and let's maybe it's.
Where's your topic?
For me, I got to tell you, one of the reasons.
Where's your topic? Where's your opinion?
I feel very comfortable talking about this is because of Terry Bradshaw.
It's just all about you, dude.
I saw Terry Bradshaw talk about depression and battling depression. And I, remember Terry Bradshaw as a great football player.
Yeah, so you have to ask yourself, is this a talk show or is this a public affairs show? Because I'm not really quite sure. I mean, basically, because all we're doing is we're just sort of listening into a conversation between two people.
Wow. Okay.
Somebody that you could identify with.
And he was one of the first ones I heard talk about it, really.
We now have more celebrities that are trying to desensitize people to what is happening with depression in this country because they themselves have suffered from it. And so you've talked about it. You got Terry Bradshaw who spoke to you, reached you about your struggles with depression. And there are a lot of other celebrities that are trying to do the same. And among them is The Rock.
The Rock?
The Rock. Can you smell?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, he actually has come out and is speaking about his own battles with depression.
I found that with depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone. You're not the first.
Yeah, here we go again. More, the soundbite. These people love with these new talk shows. Love to play these pointless sound bites.
It's only you, and you're in your bubble, and I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and, hey, it's gonna be okay. It'll be okay. So I wish I knew that. Just gotta remember, hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith that on the other side of your pain is something good.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I tell people this. I get emails. People come up to me and feel comfortable talking to me about this. And by the way, I appreciate that. I really do, that you feel comfortable.
I'm sorry, but this is a really boring talk show. And I call it a talk show because I just don't know what else to call it. I can't imagine anybody going crazy to tune this thing in. Oh, I got to hear what these guys are doing today. There's just nothing that makes me want to hang my hat on here. I mean, if I was a little old lady shut in and wanted to listen to people talking, I would maybe listen to the show. But man, there's just nothing going on here. This is just not compelling at all.
I thought I was the only person who felt the way I did. I thought I was the only person, and I use the term uniquely broken.
And KTAR-FM, the station we're listening to in Phoenix, is doing okay. They got a 4.0 plus. I have no idea what this show does. Or what the breakouts look like. Whether the numbers are 65 to dead, couldn't tell you.
Now I feel like an idiot.
And, well,
so you should. About depression, it's a good thing. All right? It does get better. And there's no one-all cure. Different things work for different people. I can tell you that.
I mean, it sounds like I'm listening to a Saturday infomercial about how to,
And I would encourage you to do the same if you're struggling in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you're a parent. You want your child to have every advantage. What's the number one most important thing you can do? We'll talk about it next on KTAR News.
Coming up today at noon.
I mean, if that's what this show is, they'd be better served just reading news stories. And maybe commenting quickly on them.
Give us 15 minutes and we'll get you set for the rest of your day. The KTAR News Expansion.
Yeah, baby. The KTAR News.
And streaming live on the KTAR News app.
Yeah.
Speaking of pain, chronic pain. Wow. We just talked earlier about some folks taking either over-the-counter or prescription medicine for their chronic pain. We know, everyone knows now, the dangers that go along with the fine line, the tightrope that you're walking when it comes to these ever-increasingly dangerous pills, medicines, chemicals. What if you could live pain-free? What if you could manage
Is this a commercial or what?
And it didn't require popping pills all day long? Well, the doctors at NovoCure are helping people and helping them get off those pills all the time. They're a full-spectrum pain management
clinic. Yeah, so that's a commercial. Now, the interesting thing here is that is he going to have to then mark that entire segment beforehand as a commercial as well?
Your sciatica. even things like herniated discs and severely arthritic knees. If chronic pain has impacted...
So here's the one question. Would you listen to this? I mean, honestly, would you listen to this? Would this be the kind of thing that you would tune in to listen to? Can you imagine anybody tuning in to listen to this that just doesn't, the only reason they tune in is because they want to hear people talking? There's no opinion. There's nothing compelling. There's no phone calls. It's just, these two people yakking. The one guy who is, what's his name? Barry something. One of those disc jockey names. Bruce St. James. And he's sort of personable. The other one just kind of sounds like a news robot. And, maybe that's her role. She's the news robot.
Innovative in our products.
But, there's just nothing, that I find compelling about listening to this. There's no opinion. There's no real topic. They're just jumping from one thing to the next. And even though they're jumping from one thing to the next, there's nothing, topic to hang your hat on. It's like, okay, so they're talking about, it's like opioid bad. And that's basically it. Opioid bad. Opioid not good. Hordor. Opioid bad. And then she says, yes, opioid bad. I mean, I can't see anybody under the age of 55 that just doesn't want to tune in to hear people talk, listen to this. And I'm sure somebody had a bright idea of pairing these two. Oh, they'll be so interesting, and they're smart, and they're intelligent. Oh, my goodness, it'll be a wonderful show. Well, I'm sorry,
new again,
but man, it sucks. These guys suck. Yeah. All right, I can't take anymore.
You'd be so glad he did.
Bye.
Switchwithpaul.com.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected Signature Series product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
You're going to love this house.
That was more
Just
interesting
came on
than the
market.
show.
It's gorgeous.